great turnout. So the show that you're about to see is called Story of My Life. It began as an independent study project by J.G. Vavrik over at Strathaven High School. The show is 90 minutes. There is no intermission. So speak now or forever hold your peace. Whichever. The $5 donation that we asked for at the door is going to a really, really wonderful foundation called Tease Kids. For those of you who remember him, Terrence Calvert was a summer stager years ago that passed away, and there's been a foundation established in his name to help kids who maybe can't afford the cost of the program to get into the program, which is a really, really cool thing, so thank you so much for that. A lot of special thanks to give out to Hannah Wisniewski and her tech folks back there. They had this afternoon to look at the show, and they've been really, really great. Thank you to Harry Dietzler and the Performing Arts Center for letting us use the space and for letting us get into here and for being willing to allow them to perform the show again. Thank you to Mr. Berkowitz, Mike Berkowitz, for all the work that he's done on the show outside of it, whether it was taking a video of the original performance, whether it was creating a promo video, whether it was a program, or the posters you saw maybe on the doors on your way in. There's just been a lot of work done to help promote it and to get you guys in the seats. Thank you to Helene Berkowitz and Pam Monaco. They're going to provide a small little snack, dinner-y kind of thing outside in the main lobby after the show. And thank you. And then a big thank you to, you see this lovely set behind you. Some of this is from the original Broadway production, and some of it is from the Delaware Theater Company production and the Act 2 production, all of which were kind of under the supervision and direction of Bud Martin, who's the guy who was the original producer on Broadway and then directed both times at Delaware and Act 2. And he was really, really generous in giving the kids the ability to use these really cool set pieces. So a big thanks goes out to him. That's all I have to say. Grown, I know. I'm going to let these two guys get on with the show. I hope you very much enjoy it. Remember, 90 minutes, no intermission. Enjoy the show.
People say nice things when you die. Yeah, they call it a eulogy. Hey, all to yours if you do mine. How's that gonna work? Oh, right. How about whichever comes first? Deal? If I say yes, can I go? Yes.
We are gathered to honor the life of Alvin Kelby. He was my best friend. My good friend. My oldest friend, my insert adjective later friend. As kids, Alvin Kelby and I had a Christmas Eve tradition of making snow angels and watching Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life, in which you may recall the inconsequential George Bailey is saved by an angel named Clarence from jumping off a bridge on Christmas Eve. The irony that this particular story should be Alvin's favorite. Hello, my name is Thomas Weaver. I'm a multi-award-winning best-selling author, and I have absolutely no idea what to write. Right when you know, Tom. Right when you know. We met in first grade. We were friends for years. Good friends, inseparable. That much I know. That much I know. Right what you know, Tom. Right what you know. He was a smart kid. He was sort of odd. No, interesting. No, odd. He worked in his father's bookstore. His father got sick. That much I know. That much I know. But that's not the story. This is just fact. What was the crisis that went undetected? What was the instant it splintered and cracked? What was the moment? I missed it somehow. And if I could narrow it down to a moment, what good is knowing that now? What was my responsibility? What did I owe? Am I to blame for all of the details I'll never know? How could I know? I went to college. Alvin stayed behind. His father passed away. I left him here alone. That much I know. That much I know. Some lives go forward, and some never budge. And sometimes life takes a different direction. With an innocuous nudge, did I do the nudging when his life careened? Now how do I bounce through a lifetime to pinpoint when I should have intervened? Where is that story? What should I say? I've got to do this right, Alvin. I've got to find the piece of the puzzle that brought me here today. What was the moment? What was the story? Choose your words, Tom. Write what you know.
There's gotta be thousands of stories in this head of yours, Tom.
Don't bother me, Alvin. I'm writing.
No, you're not. There's nothing there.
Writing is a process. Words are just the final step. Now, be quiet.
Just trying to help. Sorry, if you need me, I'll be, Shh. You know, I read somewhere that the human brain remembers absolutely everything, every moment, every detail, and it stores them away. Now, everybody has their own way of storing them. Me, you don't want to see the inside of my head. You're a writer. You tuck yours away like little stories. Look at them. Stories about you, stories about me, stories about us. You've got enough raw material in this head of yours for a dozen eulogies.
I don't need your help, Alvin. I can do this on my own.
Really? And when was the last time you actually wrote something, Tom? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick a story, and you're going to write it down. Then we'll pick another and another. You get the idea, Tom? That's all a eulogy is. You tell a bunch of stories, say the tearjerker before the end, and there you have it. My eulogy, the story of my life, written by best-selling author Tom Sweet.
Make it sound so easy.
isn't it? Here's a thought. Why don't you begin with this one? The beginning. A story about Alvin Kelby.
We already tried that. We met in first grade. We were friends for years.
No, that's not how it goes. Come on. Tell it the way Thomas Weaver tells it. The beginning. A story about Alvin Kelby. My mom passed away in the summer I turned 6. Write that down.
Alvin, what's the point?
Trust me.
Alvin's mom passed away in the summer he turned 6.
Good. And left a single father and his son. But Dad had the bookstore with a leaky roof to fix. So I was on my own, facing the unknown, the terrifying prospect of grade 1. But at the time, how was I to see? A kind and gentle soul was waiting there for me. Mrs. Remington, our first grade teacher, made elementary school a better place. But her single most disturbing feature was the coarse black hair on her face. Maybe she was menopausal, lack of estrogen would cause a lot of eye conditions so acute. The irony would never face her namesake of a famous razor and to be so facially hirsute. But Mrs. Remington smiled, and she would brighten my day. Back then, a teacher hugged you to make you feel okay, though my face sort of stung from Mrs. Remington's beard. When she held me, my problems disappeared. Come on! Mrs. Lynch was an ignoramus. Oh, Mr. Pollock was just plain mean. Mrs. Remington was nearly famous for her parties on Halloween. Pumpkin heads of every shape were cut out of construction paper, each and every one would be displayed. The highlight for the children was to make a really special costume for the yearly Halloween parade. And Mrs. Remington smiled, and she was clearly content as she lovingly presided over the main event. So we nervously walk past her critical eyes, and we vie for Mrs. Remington's top prize.
There's this one kid wearing cardboard wings, a coat hanger halo, carrying a bell, and a homemade book that said Tom Sawyer. Nobody had a clue what he was supposed to be.
Except me. Oh, Mrs. Remington! Pamela Caution thought he was the Statue of Liberty. Mrs. Remington, I know! Donnie Carter thought he was a Thanksgiving turkey. Mrs. Remington, I know! He's Clarence, the angel from It's a Wonderful Life. He was my mother's favorite.
Class laughed.
I cried. Mrs. Remington announced that I was next. Mrs. Remington smiled in that way that she had. A smile that made you realize that things were not so bad. And I knew from her face that this feeling would pass. So I went to take my turn before the class.
Those poor kids were still trying to figure out who the heck Clarence was.
And I shuffled onto the platform with fuzzy slippers, a bathrobe, and pink sponge curlers in my hair. Alvin Kelby, Mrs. Remington said, and what are you supposed to be? I'm a ghost. The ghost of my mother. Lunch that day was awful lonely, sitting by myself and only wearing fuzzy slippers and chenille. While all the kids were making fun, in came Mrs. Remington, with Clarence dragging slowly on her heel. Clarence, she said, I'd like you to meet Mrs. Kelby. She's a big fan of yours. And Mrs. Remington smiled, because Mrs. Remington knew that the battlefield of childhood was easier with two. Mrs. Remington watched as the angels do. And on Halloween that year, she saw two masks disappear when my mother met her angel, and I met you. That's a story. Tell that one and have them in the palm of your hands.
That's not the story.
What are you doing? Fine, let's jump to the big one. You sure you're ready for it?
What are you talking about?
I think it'd be a cinch to find. It happened just last week. You bury this one good and deep. God's Great Library. A story about Alvin and Thomas. Only a week ago on Christmas Eve, Alvin stood in this very spot. Write that down.
Only a week ago, on Christmas Eve, Alvin stood in this very spot.
Honoring the memory of his father.
Honoring the memory of his father.
That was the last time we saw each other. Keep going.
That was the last time we saw each other. He posted a notice in the town paper. Service to be held at Carter's funeral chapel.
You're late.
Eulogy to be written and delivered by best-selling author Thomas Weaver.
You're late.
Only Alvin would advertise a guest speaker in his father's obituary.
You're late.
I know.
Can I hear what you wrote?
Wow. Right down to business. Don't worry, you'll like it.
I'd like to hear it.
People are waiting.
Let them wait.
Dear friends and family, we are gathered to pay our respects to Gordon Kelby, a man who devoted his life to the love of books.
That's nice.
Not that one! Written down, they don't just disappear in the paper. You're gathered to honor the life of Alvin Kelby.
Guess you're not ready for that. Where were we? Ah, how about this one? The Greatest Gift. A story about Alvin and Thomas. Alvin and his father lived on the second floor above his father's bookstore.
Alvin and his father lived on the second floor above his father's bookstore.
It was called the Writer's Block, new and used books.
It was a little turn-of-the-century building that, because of how the streets converged, took up an entire, albeit tiny, town block.
Hence the name.
The Writer's Block. I just got that.
You're kidding.
That store was our refuge from the outside world, where Alvin could just be Alvin and I could marvel at his shameless eccentricity. We spent every possible moment there.
My father didn't seem to mind.
Mine didn't seem to notice. The store had a bell attached to the front door. Whenever it rang, like Pavlov's dog, Alvin would say,
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
One Christmas, we made our snow angels and watched our Capra film. Then Alvin took me downstairs to the bookstore. We were 10.
Trust me, come on. We're gonna pick out a book for your Christmas present.
Cool. Which one?
Well, I don't know, but it's somewhere in this mystical place.
Mystical place?
Yeah, mystical place.
But it's a bookstore.
No, it's a great and powerful force capable of extraordinary feats.
Alvin's father had the uncanny knack of finding the perfect book for each of his customers. Of course, Alvin saw things differently.
A book is nothing without a reader, right?
Right?
And a reader is nothing without a book, right?
Like if a tree falls in the forest.
Okay. Well, this place has the power to join one to the other in a perfect, life-altering combination. Every day, people come into this bookstore, never knowing it was built on sacred, hallowed ground.
Don't you mean hallowed?
They travel here from all around, poor souls looking for stories.
Where's my present?
These desperate pilgrims enter this shrine. My father says, good afternoon, or morning as the case may be. I'm the owner of this bookstore. Can I help you, please? And they say not right now, so thanks a lot. But I'll peruse the books you've got. I'm just looking for stories. So that allows them to search the stacks. And they hunt and browse and they read the backs. But eventually, inevitably, they ask for Dad's advice. They talk a little, and he gets this look all dazed and queer. He's an instrument. He's a vessel. And I am his son. I too hear the prophetic whispers of the bookstore spirit. I will now attempt to use my ancestral gifts to guide you to your present.
Just give me a moment.
Shh! Speak to me. Noble spirit of the bookstore. This is Alvin here.
And Thomas,
Is there something you can recommend? As a gift for Thomas, my best friend, can you find him a story?
do you hear anything yet?
No.
Wait, it needs something. It needs both of us.
What do we do?
Now we stand up straight, looking shy and meek.
Now we stand up straight, looking shy and meek.
And we humbly wait for the store to speak.
And we humbly wait for the store to speak.
Soon we will hear the answer that we are preparing to receive. Now the next part's not exactly clear. It's the part where Dad gets dazed and queer.
I think you nailed that part.
I see a guy wearing cardboard wings, a coat hanger halo, carrying a bell, and a homemade book. Wait! Holy cow! I know which book to give you now.
Well,
Grateful that I interceded. Come on! And found the book you never knew you needed. The story that will change my best friend's life.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Book report by Tommy Lever, 6th grade. I got this book from Alvin and his mystical book. Anyway, it's a really good book, but my favorite part is in the preface. It goes like this. Part of my plan has been to pleasantly remind adults of what they once were themselves, and of how they thought and talked and acted, and what queer enterprises they sometimes engaged in. The author, Hartford, 1876. In 1876, cars were not invented. They didn't have the radio or movies or TV. And they had more diseases than which now can be prevented. But someone wrote a book that year that still gets read by kids today like me. In 1876, there wasn't indoor plumbing. They didn't have a ton of things we take for granted now. Though every year there seems to be some luxury that's coming. A book like this from way back then is still around somehow. I guess I used to think that books were only words on paper. When I'm reading this, it's like Tom Sawyer's really here. When things get written down, they don't just disappear like vapor. They travel on through time beyond that one specific year. And I think writing stuff like that would make a neat career. In 1876, some guy from Missouri wrote all these adventures down and made them come alive. And just because that writer wrote this one amazing story, 1876 was so much better than 1875. Thank you. So I started writing. Anything and everything got put on paper. One sentence preface
From a book I gave you.
nudged me into a neat career as... This isn't about me, isn't it? We're gathered to honor the life of Alvin Kelly. Right, you know, Tom. Right, you know.
Mrs. Remington, our first grade teacher. place. A story about Alvin and Thomas.
Against my better judgment, Alvin and I snuck into the gallery of Carter's funeral chapel.
There she is.
We were 11.
What are you doing?
I couldn't look.
You're a chicken. Oh, they shaved your beard. Made you look.
Let's go.
No, listen. This is the kind of stuff that you should write about.
Who's that guy?
I think it's Mr. Remington.
There's a Mr. Remington? Get out. What's he saying?
That she's gone to a better place.
Like where?
Like Disneyland.
Cool. People say nice things when you die.
Yeah, they call it a eulogy. Hey, all yours if you do mine.
How's that gonna work?
How about whichever comes first? Deal?
If I say yes, can I go?
Yes.
Deal.
Oh, wait, write this down. I, Thomas Weaver,
I, Thomas Weaver,
promise to do Alvin's eulogy.
promise to do Alvin's eulogy.
And to tell the world how he is my best friend.
And to tell the world how he is my best friend.
And how much I love him.
What are you, a girl?
Just write it down. And vice versa, whichever comes first.
Vice versa, whichever comes first.
And if I don't, may I drop down dead in my tracks and rot.
He stole that last part from Tom Sawyer.
Shut up and write it.
Vice versa, and if I don't, may I drop down dead in my tracks and rot.
Now sign.
You done?
Yes.
Let's go.
Wait. What are you gonna say?
Have to die to find out.
And how's that gonna work? Oh, they're closing it.
Bye, Mrs. Remington.
Have fun in Disneyland.
Was that the moment? When was the instant it splintered and cracked?
So, what are you gonna say?
We are gathered to honor the life of Alvin Calvin. What was the crisis that went undetected? What was the instant it started to crack?
A stupid squashable bug. A story about Alvin and Thomas.
One afternoon when I was 14, I borrowed one of the magazines my father kept hidden in his nightstand. I found Alvin at the bridge by the falls, staring intently at a butterfly.
But Tom, watch this. They say that every time this butterfly flaps its wings, it causes a tiny ripple in the air that can spread out and grow and change wind currents and weather patterns. They call it the butterfly effect. One flap of its wings can cause a blizzard in Africa.
To any other 14-year-old, Alvin was a freak.
I prefer the term individual.
Nothing is happening.
It will!
This is ridiculous. Al, we're starting high school in the fall, and you don't seem prepared for that at all. When everything is different and the kids are mostly new, you'll see high school can be hard on individuals like you.
Whoa, it's flapping!
It's a bug. A stupid, squashable bug. Look at this magazine, Alvin. See what regular guys are obsessed with. You're chasing insects while you could be learning what Miss April tattooed her giant chest with.
Get that out of my face.
That was fine when it was just junior high. If you want to fit in at high school, I'll be normal. Just try. Miss April likes action movies, stock car There are bullies and thugs. Alvin, everyone a potential. Alvin, a foe.
Whoa!
The tiniest transgression, like to stick out or rebel, will destroy their first impression and turn high school into hell. Al! Shh! I threw Miss April at the butterfly.
No! Oh, it's flapping. It's flapping a lot. There's no telling what chain of events you just set into motion.
Nothing is gonna happen.
No! If a stupid squashable bug can have that kind of power, what about us?
Alvin moves his finger.
Anything for that. Or that.
And his whole arm.
Or that.
Until he's flapping plays pterodactyl.
Woohoo! Look at me, Tom! I'm changing the weather patterns. I'm redirecting the jet stream. I'm melting the polarized gas.
Nothing's happening. Look like an idiot. Nobody said it was easy, Alvin. Nobody said it was free. And hearing this stuff from a friend, not knowing it all would be twice as shitty. You'll notice and you'll thank me, you see. So don't be the guy who bucks every trend.
Magazine.
I have to justify and defend.
Didn't see that before.
Yeah. If you want to keep being my best friend, be normal.
A caterpillar.
Like
Tom!
bullies and thugs.
Tom!
A story about Alvin Kelby.
Tom!
For a 10th grade Halloween party, Alvin came to school dressed as his mother's ghost again, bathrobe and all.
Tom!
What was cute at 6 was just weird at 15.
Tom!
Donnie Carter chased Alvin all the way to the bridge by the falls, and by the time I got there, had him pinned to the ground and was pummeling him mercilessly.
Tom!
Get off him!
Tom!
I said get off him now!
He's got my robe, Tom.
Give it back.
Please, just give it
I
back.
said give it back now!
No, don't do that, please. Please, don't!
Donnie threw the robe over the side of the bridge and ran away. We watched it careen over the falls. But seriously, Al, what were you thinking? What Alvin was thinking. Story about Alvin Kelby.
I remember Mom would make my lunches every afternoon when I was 5. Sandwiches and carrot sticks in bunches. It's strange how certain memories survive. We'd both sit on a kitchen stool. I tell her what I did in school, how I'd carry on. People carry on. When you're a kid, your world becomes your parents. I saw them like a movie in my mind. Dad was George, and Mom was just like Clarence. And I became the two of them combined. But then one day, our family was suddenly just Dad and me. But we would carry on. People carry on. Time went by, we changed and grew. I bounced back like children do. But Mom was always close to me. Her robe was like her legacy. I felt like she was woven there in every stitch and quilted square, reminding me of things the way they were. But sometimes distant memories can blur. I knew my mother's robe, but somehow I'd forgotten I was 6, the day they buried Mom. My borrow tie, the perfumed air, the flower baskets everywhere. Every triviality is locked inside my memory. Details will survive the years, while Mom just slowly disappears. But people carry on. People carry on. People carry on. People carry on. God's Great Library. A story about Alvin and Thomas. I'm gonna try it again. Only a week ago on Christmas Eve, Alvin stood in this very spot, honoring the memory of his father.
That was the last time we saw each other.
You're late.
No.
Can I hear what you wrote?
Oh, down to business. Don't worry, you'll like it.
I'd like to hear it.
People are waiting.
I've been waiting.
Dear friends and family, we are gathered to pay our respects to Gordon Kelby, a man who devoted his life to the love of books.
That's nice.
And then I read him a glorious passage by poet John Donne about all our lives being the pages and chapters of one great book collected up by God,
Can I see it?
which he clearly didn't appreciate.
This is it, Tom?
It was a perfectly fitting tribute to his father,
It's just a quote.
full of some of the most evocative images I have ever encountered.
From a dead poet.
Written by one of the preeminent poets of the English language.
I asked you to write it.
No! Things are written down, they don't just disappear like vapor. They travel on through time beyond one specific year.
Write what you know, Tom.
And I think writing stuff like that would make a neat career.
A neat career. A neat career. A neat career. A story about Thomas.
Okay. My college application required a sample of my writing, a short story, and I had nothing. I'd been writing stuff down for years, but nothing resembled an actual story. So in a panic, I went to find Alvin in the bookstore to tell me what to do.
There's got to be thousands of stories in that head of yours, Tom. Just pick one and write it down.
So I picked one and wrote it down. 350 words amounting to, I suspected, a pile of crap. I decided to read it to Alvin and let him decide if it was any good at all.
So let me get this straight. If I say I like it, you'll submit it.
Right.
And if the college likes it, you'll be accepted.
Right.
And if you're accepted, you'll leave.
Right.
And what if I say I don't like it?
Well, then it's a whole different story.
Oh, so your life is in my hands. I like this. Read.
In a far-off land, there lived a beautiful butterfly. In a kingdom full of blossom-covered trees. And winding through this paradise, a river danced along and played with the constant summer breeze.
Keep going.
The butterfly found a tiny branch at the riverside and watched the water rushing who knows where. Carefully he sheltered from the power of the breeze, for surely it could toss him through the air. I'm a butterfly, he said, trivial and small, and in the greater scheme of things, I don't mean much at all. So I'll flap my wings to stretch myself and just butterfly, what more can I do? One afternoon, the butterfly asked the river, Madam, what makes you hurry so? What splendid destination are you willing to board? Where, oh, where do you go? The river said, I'm headed for the ocean. And the summer breeze inspires me to race. My friend, you love the ocean, it's remarkable to see. Won't you join our friendly chase? I'm a butterfly, he said, trivial and small. And in the greater scheme of things, I don't mean much at all. So I flatten my wings to stretch myself and just enjoy the view. I'm a butterfly, what more can I do? So the butterfly, he dreamed of the ocean. He longed to flutter high above the seas. But there are dangers in the sky for a tiny butterfly. So from his branch, he asked a question of the breeze. What makes you chase the river towards the ocean? And the breeze told him a most amazing thing. I'm simply made up of currents in the air that start from the movement of your wing. Your tiny wing. You're a butterfly, my friend. Powerful and strong. And I'm grateful for the way you've always hurried me along. When you flap your wings to stretch yourself, it might seem small to you, but you change the world with everything you do. So he stretched his wings and took off from the safety of his tree. And the butterfly finally saw the Alvin had this look in his eyes I'd never seen before. He waited for what seemed like an eternity, and then simply said,
Send it.
was that the moment,
Was that the moment?
and we stood somehow over the falls. The day I left for college, Alvin and I stood at the bridge by the falls, throwing sticks into the river and watching them careen over the falls. Crap. Or not. Over the falls. Crap. My sticks floated freely over the falls while his got caught in the rocks every time. The symbolism was glaringly obvious.
I'm gonna miss you.
Yes, you are.
Tom? What? Can I say something?
Whatever. Over the falls.
I'm gonna miss you.
We already covered that.
Ugh!
Ah, does George Bailey need a throwing lesson? I put my arm around him and messed his hair. And then he kissed me. On the neck here, just below the ear.
Over the falls.
Goodbye. a story about Thomas. The first time that we said goodbye, we stood by the car for an hour, I swear. The usual platitudes hung in the air. The first time that we said goodbye, the first time that we said goodbye, I realized I didn't want Alvin to know that secretly I was excited to go. The first time that we said goodbye, he said I was glad I was leaving.
You need this?
He said he'd be fine on his own.
I've still got Dad in the store and the new fall releases.
You're wearing clothes. Weather was changing the leaves in the September sky. But nothing was changing for Alvin. Everything changed. First time that we said goodbye.
The homecoming.
I'd come home for the holidays with an assignment deadline looming over me.
Let's go outside. Shh. What are you doing?
Right?
No, you're not. There's nothing there.
Right, it's a process. Or is it just the final step? No, be quiet.
We only have a half an hour before It's a Wonderful Life starts. Can't you process outside?
Shut up, I'm this close to something.
Fine. If you need me, I'll be with you. Shh. You know, I read somewhere that the diversity of the structures of a snowflake is commonly believed to be infinite. So come on, let's go outside and kick up a little infinite diversity.
This is important.
You know, I read somewhere that one of the symptoms of an oncoming nervous breakdown is the belief that one's work is terribly important. There's gotta be thousands of stories in that head of yours, Tom. Just pick one and write it
You
down.
have no clue how this works, do you? Something is approaching, Alvin. This is where it starts.
My God, you're dull.
Tuesday's embryonic idea. Wednesday could be climbing the charts.
Look at all that snow.
Suddenly, imagination percolates and spins.
Excellent packing quality, light dusting of powder.
That's the ancient art of creation.
A perfect combination.
And here's where it begins.
Come on, let's go outside.
A spark can be extinguished, Alvin, with the slightest move. Let me fan this flame of thought, at least until I'm into the groove.
It's not gonna last forever.
Ideas are just visitors, ephemeral and rare. I just need something down on this paper. Still nothing there.
Look up from your page, Tom.
Where's the inspiration? The writer needs a muse. I need some inspiration. There's not much here to use.
If you need me, I'll be outside maintaining a tradition alone.
Are you a little old for that?
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Next week, my outline work is tough, and that's the part that separates the children from the men. Friend in the world becomes your favorite pet.
I'm making a snow angel.
Structure, inform, working out one little spot, a twist of the plot, but still you're just getting bored. Patience. With patience, you finish a draft. Assuming you get to this part, it's 10% art. Really, it's more about craft. And rules. The rules are swimming through your mind. Because you memorized each textbook and lecture. Every detail is reworked and redefined. Telling stories is just architecture.
Look at me, Tom, look at me. Oh, I've got snow down my pants.
It's elusive, Alvin. It's like angels in the snow. Turn your back, and there they go. It's life. Stand back, Al, here I come.
Every time a bell rings,
Shut up. Everything is starting, Alvin, everything is real.
just think your angel right over here. The snow is
Angels in the snow, angels in the snow. A work in progress. Every Christmas Eve, we make angels in the snow, just like every other kid has done. The next time that we said goodbye, the old town seemed quiet and frozen and small, and things there for now hadn't changed much at all. The next time that we said goodbye, I'd come home for Christmas to introduce Anne.
Nice to meet you.
My colleague, my girlfriend, my #1 fan. The next time that we said goodbye, I've been published for a national weekly. I've been published in her magazine. Alvin was stuck selling books while his father got sicker.
You've grown up.
He still looks 18. Anne's waiting in the car. You coming out to say goodbye?
Oh, I can't.
Why not?
Dad's left a list of things to do.
It'll take 10 seconds.
Oh, it's a really long list.
Like her.
No, she's great. I'm sure she'll have you settling down in no time, you know? Getting married, buying a house, a dog, having a kid. Do you think she'll let you name him after me? I mean the dog.
Years are like snowflakes that pass in the blink of an eye.
I'm so glad to see that you're happy.
Alvin seems sad. Next time that we said goodbye,
Some lives move forward, and some never budge.
we are gathered to honor the life of Alvin Calmes.
Sometimes life takes a different direction, with an innocuous, innocent nudge.
An innocuous, innocent nudge. Alvin's father's condition worsened, and eventually he was moved into a home. So Alvin assumed ownership of the bookstore. Every time the bell rings, I shuffled my schedule and ran back to town to help with the paperwork. With each turn of the page, the old store, writer's block, new and used books became more and more Alvin's.
I feel like you.
Well, it's all yours. And may I say, I'm glad you got writer's block and not me.
Very little.
So, what the hell are you going to do with it?
I miss the way things were before. Dad says I'm just being sappy. He says to take this little store and do whatever makes me happy.
So, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Never had an option. Do you want to stay and help me decide?
All I could think was, I've got too much to do.
You could stay through Christmas.
All I could think was, I have 3 book signings.
It'll be like we're kids again.
All I could think was, Anne would never let me.
Come on, what do you say?
But all I could say was, why don't you come to the city?
Really? George Bailey leave town? I've never done that before.
I took care of all the arrangements.
Dad's in good hands.
I booked the train.
I can do what I want with the
I
store.
booked his room.
I can actually do this.
In spite of that, a day didn't go by without a phone call asking what he should pack,
Do I need a tie? I don't have a tie.
how much cash he should bring.
I bought a money belt. It'll be safer, right?
One final phone call, the morning before the big trip.
This is it, Tom. This is it. 24 hours and I will be there.
All I could think was, boy, this day came fast.
To ruffle your feathers and get in your hair.
All I could think was, I have things to take care of.
The whole Duncan parish, I don't even care.
All I could
This is it, Tom. This is it. Never thought this day would actually come. This morning I finally believed it. I woke up and felt it begin. I'm shaking the dust of this crummy old town off my feet. Take that, George Bailey. I'll make up a sign for the bookstore and hang it where people come in, saying closing for Christmas, the owner is hitting the street. Look, I'll never be a world traveler, I just wasn't built that way. Still, this could be my Independence Day.
It's just a trip to the city, Al.
I think of the times throughout history, a day unremarkably dawned, when one man was seized by the restless desire to explore. She looked up and scanned the horizon and wondered what might lie beyond, then hoisted his anchor and sailed for some uncharted shore. Well, now my destiny's calling, and I can hear it say, this could be my Independence Day.
Aren't you blowing this a little out of proportion?
Of course you wouldn't understand. This is a feeling you must feel every day. As publishing's latest man of the hour, 4 bestsellers and counting, Tom, I really can't compete with your resume. But something deep is stirring and shifting inside. The boundaries are blurring and opening wide. It's suddenly occurring that finally I deserve to stray and reach and yearn and dare to say it might just be my turn. It's rare that you notice a moment, the moment it's hurrying by, then instantly frame it and say that's when everything changed. Well, now there's a moment approaching. I'm staring it straight in the eye, prepared for a future of moments that aren't prearranged. Old George Bailey was cheated. He never left his town. Beaten down and defeated, he even tried to drown. Well, look at me, I've been treated till life turned upside down. Welcome to my Independence Day. This is it, Tom, this is it.
All I could think was I never told Anne he was coming.
Christmas, the two of us just like before.
All I could think was I never told Alvin I'm engaged.
Like back in my living room over the store.
All I could think was things here have gotten complicated.
Who says the holidays have to be more?
All I could say was,
This is it, Tom. This is...
Al, don't come.
Why not?
It's not a good time. Al? What do you think, Al?
This is it, Tom. Me and you.
The next time that we say
If
goodbye,
you commit, Tom, you see it through.
why is it always goodbye? Goodbye, Al.
Goodbye, Tom.
Relationships thrive or dissolve without our knowing why. And somehow goodbye became easy. Wait! Let me explain. It really wasn't a good time. Weaver, Table for Two, a story about Thomas. I like it here. The waitresses tend to be rude, but the food is so good. The last time I came here, my publisher paid. He should, with all that my stories have made. I had the lamb with the mint marinade. I like it here. It's comfortable. The prices they charge here are really a crime. We even pay extra for water with lime. Still, I come back again time after time. I like it here. You're probably wondering why we are here. There's so much to plan, like that thing with your father. I've needed you to myself for an hour tonight. See, everything's moving so quickly. There's all these decisions to make, and I still have my deadline. My head is spinning and something just doesn't feel right. I guess what I'm trying to say, now that we have a minute, is lately you're asking for more than I'm able to give. I think you deserve more than someone whose heart isn't in it. Instead of us picking out dishes and bedding, I wonder if we shouldn't postpone the wedding. Anne. I think, Anne, are you okay? You haven't had more than a bite of your tuna tartare. Or the hummus. Look, all that I'm asking is can we just wait and put on the brakes if it isn't too late? Give me some time and that would be great for everyone. Just when two people get into the groove, there's always this pressure that things have to move. Why do relationships have to improve? I like it here.
You should have told me about that.
Alvin never would have understood.
Yes, I would.
I couldn't work, I couldn't write, I had to streamline my personal life.
Money and Prizes. A story about Thomas. Having streamlined his personal life, Thomas was able to focus on more important matters.
But as much as I tried to focus, there was always this voice in my head. Alvin's patient, supportive, aggravating voice.
Another award? You're so talented, Tom.
Thank you for coming. I'm flattered but completely at a loss as to why you've chosen me. I'm a writer. I write little collections of stories and people buy them. It's a humble vocation. As a writer, you're merely a conduit. You're an instrument. You're a vessel.
You're amazing, Tom. You've known this big fancy dude. For you. You're amazing, Tom. If I knew about this, I'd have been there today. Well, anyway, I'm sure you have no time to call. I know that your schedule's tight. You're probably needed at signings and parties. Come on, I'm your pal, it's all right. You're amazing, Tom.
I'm frequently asked, where do your stories come from? I don't know. All I know is there's got to be thousands of stories in this head of mine just waiting for me to pick one and write it down.
You're amazing, Tom. You're everything I always knew you could be. Times 3.
It's lonely work, just me and the blank page.
You're amazing, Tom. And to think that you made it here all on your own. Well, your writing is passionate skill, while others are churning out fluff. It's easy to pander to low expectations, but quality stories are tough.
And the indescribable feeling of writing those first few words, knowing you're on your way to changing people's lives.
What you do is important. What you do is an
Firefly, the Memory Robe, the marvelous mystical bookstore, even the incredibly popular Mrs. Remington's Halloween, all of them were up here, just waiting for me to pick them and set them free. This generous award tells me you want to keep it up. I promise I will.
You're amazing, Tom. First one of the choices you made is success. I guess. You're amazing, Tom. It's hard when you have to leave some things behind. Well, never mind. Some people march in parades, while others just watch them go by.
Of course, I can't leave the stage without a few thank yous.
So some of the praise and enjoy the ovation.
My publisher,
Nobody special will share your elation.
my agent,
Money and prizes are fine consolation, which tangibly indicate why.
and the single most important person in all of this. The one who buys my book.
You're amazing,
But it's elusive, Alvin. It's like angels in the snow. Turn your back and there they go. Angels in the snow. Work in progress. I hunkered down and got back to work, trying desperately to avoid any distractions.
Merry Christmas, Tom. I hope this card finds blocked in your office writing, otherwise I simply won't excuse you're not coming home. When are we going to see your new book? The customers keep hounding me, and I say, don't rush him. It's a process. So, how's the process? Miss you. Love, Al.
Every Christmas Eve, we'd make angels in the snow. Just like every other kid has done. We'd stretch out our arms and legs. Then we'd wave them to and fro. In a something. In a halo of the late December sun.
Merry Christmas, Tom. How could you bear another Christmas without me? Where's your new book? Why aren't you writing? Why aren't you writing me? Love, Al.
Proudly we'd create our two angels in the snow. With reverential robes and perfect wings.
Merry Christmas, Tom.
We'd spend hours in the yard. All those Christmases ago.
Another Christmas, another card.
And when at last they were complete, we felt like kings.
I wish you'd write.
Then as the sun disappeared,
Love, Al.
and when at last they were complete, we felt like kings. Then as the sun disappeared,
Merry Christmas, Tom, from the Calvies.
then as the sun disappeared,
Please write.
as the sun disappeared, as the sun disappeared, as the sun disappeared, as the sun disappeared, as the sun. I just need something down on this paper. Still nothing there. Nothing there. Whose story is this?
You're gathered to honor
Gathered to honor the life of Alvin Kelby. Nothing there. Right when you know, Tom. Right when you know. Right when you know. The world must keep changing and moving so fast.
It's rare that you notice the moment is hurrying by.
The trick isn't keeping the past in the past.
Too much watchful love and that kind of power on us.
Wouldn't you like to be more than just that weird Kelby
My
kid?
mother's wrote, but somehow I forgot her.
Words have no power to change what is destined to
I
die.
dropped down then in my tracks and rise.
I guess what I'm trying to say now that we have a minute is lately you're asking for more than I'm able to give.
All to yours if you mine.
He turned into someone I'm not sure I know.
Money and prizes are fine consolation.
Some friendships continue and some you outgrow.
You're amazing, Tom.
At birthdays and Christmas, a token
I'm
hello.
gonna miss you.
Till the last time. away. I left him here alone.
You're late.
I know.
Can I hear what you wrote?
Wow. Right down to business. Don't worry. You'll like it.
I'd like to hear it.
People are waiting.
Let them wait.
Dear friends and family, we are gathered to pay our respects to Gordon Kelby, a man who devoted his life to the love of books.
That's nice.
17th century poet John Donne once wrote, "All of mankind is of one author and one volume. When one man dies, one chapter is not torn out, but translated into a better language. And every chapter must be so translated. God employs several translators. Some are translated by war, some by disease, some by death, some by justice. But God's hand is in every translation. And he shall bind up all our scattered leaves for that library in the sky where we will lie open to one another." Gordon Kelby is now a part of God's great library. Will be missed by us all.
Can I see it?
Less is more, right?
This is it, Tom?
Less is more, right?
It's just a quote
A beautiful quote.
from a dead poet.
A brilliant dead poet.
I asked you to write it.
I know.
Did you even try?
Of course I tried.
Try again.
Right now,
Right now.
Alvin, people are waiting.
I don't care.
This is a brilliant piece of literature written by a brilliant author. Your father should be lucky to have words like this said about him.
What does that?
Living in a small town and selling books doesn't inspire epic poetry.
I live in a small town and sell books, and you spun that into a career.
Excuse me?
The marvelous mystical bookstore, Mrs. Remington's Halloween, The Butterfly.
I can't believe this.
Who inspired those?
What are you saying?
Are you working on anything new?
Yes,
What's it about?
snow angels.
And that just came out of thin air?
What do you want? Credit?
You don't understand.
I don't share credit.
I don't want credit.
Those were my stories. Those were my words. Those came out of my head.
I just want you to write one for him.
I can't.
Why not?
Those are my stories. Those came out of my head. I didn't need him.
I'm sorry. I've got people waiting. Do it myself.
He thought he could just do it off the cuff. Well, that's not how it works. Stories aren't easy. They're damn near impossible. But I wrote them, and I wrote them on my own. I worked my ass off. I won awards.
Thank you all for coming.
I snuck into the gallery to watch him try to do what I devoted years of my life to do.
We are gathered to honor the life of my father, Gordon Kelby. Let me tell you a story about my father.
Look at him, standing there. Look at him, comfortable, confident, smug, telling story after goddamn story about his father. Look at him. He wouldn't stop. He just kept going, telling stories. They were good. They were so good. Look at him. I didn't see that tear on his coat. I didn't see the way that his hands were shaking. The way the words got caught in his throat. The way he fixed his hair. I didn't see the way the platform made him look so tall. No, I didn't see Alvin at all. I didn't see that I was a fraud, or notice it was Al who was more pleased. I took the bows while he would applaud. I hardly saw him there. It turned dependable like stone. I didn't stop to see what else I lost, and we gradually lost touch. Look up from your page, Tom. Look up from your page. You're alone. I didn't see the end of the road. Set my vision firmly toward the future, burying the debt that I owed to Alvin and my past. I didn't see the sand slip through my fingers way back then. And I didn't see Alvin again.
The end. A story about Alvin Kelby.
I'm done with stories.
Well, did you finish my eulogy? No. We're not done. The end. A story about Alvin Kelby. That's the one you're looking for, right? If you just had that one story, you could close the book on Alvin once and for all.
Fine. Where is it?
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Why not?
Because it's not here.
Then just tell me.
Tell you what?
Why did you do it?
Do what?
Jump off that bridge,
Is that what you think happened?
isn't it?
Why would I do a thing like that?
You tell me!
I can't.
Why not? That's the story I need. That's the piece that's missing.
You know, I've read somewhere that the human brain remembers absolutely everything, every moment, every detail, and stores them away. But you can't remember something if you weren't there. And you weren't there. So all you're ever going to have are questions. And there sure are an awful lot of them, aren't there? Why did I stay in this town? Why didn't I sell the bookstore? Why did I hold on to our friendship for so long? What did I want from it? What happened that night at the bridge? Did I jump? Did I fall? Did I wait like George Bailey for a Clarence who never came? How is it that a kid who once thought a butterfly could melt the polar ice caps end up in a frozen river on Christmas Eve? And more importantly, what does it have to do with you? I could keep going, but they all have the same answer. You'll never know, Tom. You'll never know. There's gotta be thousands of stories in this head of yours, Tom. Don't look for one that isn't there. This is it, Tom. This is all there is. And isn't it amazing? Here we sit, Tom, forever tossing branches off a bridge over the falls. Here we're frozen at 10. Here we're awkward young men, and you filed away these memories bit by bit. Now look again, 'cause all that you needed, Tom, is here, all around you. This is it. Just admit, Tom, you expected more. But isn't this refreshing? This is it, Tom. Sure, it's nothing like the picture on the box. And no secrets exist in some moment you missed. Just accept that sometimes pieces might not fit. And that's okay, 'cause all that you needed, Tom, is here, all around us. This is it. Look at them all. Stories about you, stories about me, stories about us. Just waiting for you to pick them and write them down. You are a writer. Take what you know. Here, there's a lifetime of moments and details that you make blossom and grow.
this is all we get. And wasn't it exciting? But don't you see, Tom? It isn't really over after all. Just like stones in a lake, and the ripples they make, stories carry on through time and never quit. It's up to you. This isn't my story now. It's yours. Look around you. This is it. This is you. This is me. This is love. This is life. This is it. What's that? It's a work in progress. Every Christmas Eve, we'd make angels in the snow, just like every other kid has done. We'd stretch out our arms and legs, then we'd wave them to and fro in a halo of the late December sun. And once a year we believed there was magic alive in the air, with the angels we made lying there. I like this. Proudly we create our two angels in the snow, with reverential robes and perfect wings. We'd spend hours in the yard, all those Christmases ago, and when at last they were complete, we felt like kings. Then as the sun disappeared, this is it, Tom? And as the sun disappeared, and with snow down the back of our pants, we would wait for our angels to dance. Icy wind would rip the snow from and the trees were on a sweet celestial and the angel souls were wide awake and alive on every single flake. They were all around us as we stood like stone. Thousands of angels with lives of their own, each one with a separate story, joining in one burst of glory. And the snowflakes scattered and they flew, and our angels did too. Every Christmas Eve, we make angels in the snow. Every year we watch them disappear. They disappear, but I know that they'll return. Though the years may come and go, when I need to have them with me, they'll be here. They'll be here. Swirling round and around in a magical Christmas Eve glow. The way they did then, back when we were just 10. All our angels again in the snow. People say nice things when you die. They call it a eulogy. All to yours if you do mine. Second. How about whichever comes first? Deal? If I say yes, can I go? Yes. We are gathered to honor the life of Alvin Xiong-Calmes. He was my best friend. Let me tell you a story about Alvin.